What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here on the OddsShopper Golf Channel, coming to you with another edition of Lindy's Best 9 Bets. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bells will get going. Goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. You become a prize whenever great betting content is going live here at a little neck of the YouTube woods. Let's review last week first. We had the first ever edition, and it was successful, up 2.3 units. I would like to just slam every single week. Minwoo Lee didn't hit any of the outrights top 10 market, but we smashed going up against Danny McCarthy. We won every single head-to-head. Shane Lowry over Sung Jae, Chris Kirk over Matt Kuchar, and Minwoo Lee against Danny McCarthy. So those were successful. That makes me feel good to know that we're off to a good start here. I've got 9 plays again for you. Once again, we've got the scorecard at that bottom bar. You simply follow along there at home as I go through it, but we're going to start, as always, here in the head-to-head market, then the make, miss, cut, which should just be called the miss cut segment this week, and then to the outright market. We're looking at top 10s. We're looking at one outright that I've got for you, but hopefully we can hit one of those in the next couple weeks. That's kind of the way golf betting works, but in the meantime, sustaining ourselves by playing those head-to-head markets, the make, miss, cut sections. Honda was really, really great. Hopefully we can continue that trend here at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So with that, let's get ourselves to the picks, shall we? All right, we go to hole 1, Shane Lowry. I like him. We're running it back against Cam Young. Let's talk about weather right off the bat, shall we? Looks like on windfinder.com, it could get brutal on Friday. We're talking 20-mile-an-hour sustained, up to 30-mile-an-hour gusts. And while ball striking will still really, really matter, with the firmness and fastness of these greens, when you inevitably miss some greens in these conditions, you better be able to grind it out. And that, my friends, is why Shane Lowry beating Cam Young straight up comes into play for me. And look, I love Cam Young. He's exciting. He's composed. He beats the piss out of the golf ball, but he's got stone gargoyle hands. How about that for an analogy? At the moment, losing strokes around the green in 4 straight. The putter has been ice cold the past 3. Ball striking has routinely been up to snuff, especially off the tee, but so has Shane Lowry's. So I'm getting an equally good ball striker at the moment with the way better short game in Lowry. What's not to love? So get ready for a little bit later in the program when I break down his stats and profile, that being Lowry, but we're going to short Young based on Friday's 20-mile-per-hour winds. Lots of ways this can go wrong for him as he's the favorite in this matchup. So go Lowry for a full unit, the now Floridian, former Irishman, firing it up, plus 128 over on FanDuel. Half a unit. To hole number 2, and we're doubling down against Cam Young here with a player I think is on the up and up, Tommy Fleetwood. Now, he made the cut at the Genesis, finished 20th there. Very, very nice. We saw a miscut at Phoenix. That wasn't so great. 4th at the CJ Cup starting in the fall last year. He was playing over in Europe for most of it, but I just like what I'm seeing with the approach. And when you look at a golf course like this where long irons come into play, more 200-yard plus approach shots than you get on any other golf course, it would seem, you're looking at US Open type conditions, US Open type length, and he has excelled in those kind of conditions over the course of his career. So another plus money play. Again, I'm looking for Cam Young to be the guy who ends up sinking a lot of people this week. I love him as a player. He's a great ball striker. There's no doubt about it. But the around the green game has just been broken of late. Makes it a pretty easy ask for me to go to another guy getting plus money. Tommy Fleetwood, another half unit. And to hole number 3, we're going to the big boys up top. The favorites in this golf tournament. You can put Scotty Scheffler in the conversation too. But Rory McIlroy versus Jon Rahm. And why would you want to play with fire like this, Eric? Why would you even entertain this? Well, Rory McIlroy, if you were to come up with a golf course that was just designed for him in this spot, that's pretty much what you're looking at Bay Hill being. And during the course of his career, he's been awesome at the Arnold Palmer. We have not seen him finish outside of the top 13 since 2017. That is 6 straight events with 4 top 6s slammed into the middle of it. He's so good on the approach, off the tee here. If he is positive with the putter, you got to be thinking he's in top 3, top 5 contention. And of course, Jon Rahm on the other side has just been electric. He has now won 3 of his last 5 events on tour with a 3rd and a 7th, not to besmirch either of those finishes, but Rory McIlroy on this golf course with his amount of experience as opposed to Rahm, who has played the Arnold Palmer, pretty average by his standards, a miscut, a 10th and a 20th in his last 3 events. I feel like Rory getting minus 102 on a golf course he has more familiarity with and more success with makes a lot more sense. So It's basically a coin flip with the books. I have this a little bit closer to 55, 56%, so that's good enough. We're grinding out another small edge here, half unit to round it out here, half unit on every single head-to-head going down the board. To hole number 4, we're going to Cam Young to miss the cut, and if you listen to my breakdown of Lowry versus Young, this shouldn't come as much of a surprise. Young is impressive, I admitted that. Normally someone I like to back for his ball striking profile. And maybe if it's so brutal out there and everybody's grinding, he can be the one to steady the ship by hitting 14, 15, 16 greens in regulation. But this is a reduced field of 120 golfers. They'll still be cut to only 65 in ties, so again, that's a better cut percentage than normal. That's why you're getting such large plus money going to these certain players. So you need kind of a big blow up for somebody who has as elite of a ball striking profile as Young to miss an actual cut here. But for me, the Achilles heel again is that short game. And in 2023, he has not had one. It has been non-existent. So kind of the inverse of what we capitalized on last week at the Honda with Denny McCarthy, who was super weak with the ball striking, and I didn't think profiled well in that spot. I'm going to be shorting Young here, hoping the around the green game matters a little bit more than it did last week. Specifically looking at Friday, 50% of the golf that you're playing on Thursday and Friday is going to be played in a ton of wind. You got to get up and down and grind it out. So I hope the wind wreaks havoc here on Mr. Young. Half a unit on him to miss the cut. And hole number 5, Tom Kim to miss the cut. As I said before at the beginning of this program, I'm looking at all missed cut numbers here in this spot, but I think this is kind of a broken line, plus 250. I think it should be shorter odds than that. And Tom Kim is a really fun story, and someone I've backed a fair share of times before people knew who he was last summer. He went on a little bit of a mini tear, won the Wyndham and the Shriners, 2 wins going towards the fall there, locking up his tour card for the foreseeable future. You're going to see a lot of him. But aside for the 6th that he had at the American Express here this spring, he's still been teetering on some weak form in all departments, still making cuts, 50th and 45th in those past 2 elevated events. But my God, is the ball striking down in a pronounced way. Part of that is field quality, but part of it also is going to be playing tougher fields on tougher golf courses. And on a nearly 7,500-yard golf course at sea level, I don't see how he competes in an elite field that just smashes the golf ball like a Rahm, like a Rory, like a Scheffler, unless the putter just does meteoric things like it's done in a couple of his wins. And yes, just 120 players, 65 in ties get in. More than 50% of the field will be making the weekend, so it's tough to convert some of these. But more than a few top-tier players will miss the cut here. You heard me, will. And they're going to be pieces of value here, and I think Kim's weak form of late makes him a prime candidate to do so. So another longish type miscut play, but I really like it this week. Plus 250 for Mr. Tom Kim over on DraftKings to miss the cut. Half a unit. And number 6, oh boy, now this one is a hot take, but this speaks to the theme that if a par is at a premium, trusting the short game of Viktor Hovland to overcome all is not ideal. 111th in strokes gained around the green amongst this field over his last 50 rounds is Hovland. He's been negative with the putter in those last 2 elevated events. Now, of all of these plays, Hovland is the most unlikely to miss the cut in my eyes for sure, but that's probably illustrated by the numbers on the side of your screen. Minus 550 to make the cut. That's pretty likely. So just saying, this is not a parlay piece. I don't want to see a miscut parlay grouping of some sort. Although I kind of want to because it would be really, really fun to hit one of those. But he missed the cut. His last 2 missed cuts, the US Open and the Genesis Scottish Open in back-to-back events last year. Only missed cuts over the last calendar year. But you know what golf course looks eerily similar to those events on Friday? Yeah. It's a US Open at Bay Hill. Bay Hill has US Open characteristics to its firm, fast, chipping matters, long roughs. So yeah, 3 straight missed cut bets. And Hovland hitting would be the least likely of the bunch here at plus 350. And don't go crazy, half a unit again, but these are nice additions to your card considering I have no interest in betting them as at outrights as it is right now. Maybe they miraculously find chipping over the weekend, but I don't think so. Don't think they're going to make it to the weekend. At least one of them hits were just fine. So, rounding out the card in the make miscut section with a miscut for Viktor Hovland. If you haven't signed up for DraftKings, this is the best opportunity you're going to get to do so from here on out, I can tell you that much. You bet $5, you get yourself $150 when a money line play hits, and I'm looking in the college basketball street. again, you want to find the biggest favorite you can. That is Mississippi State against South Carolina. They are 15.5-point favorites tonight, that being Tuesday night, minus 1,700. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, it's all right. Find the biggest favorite on the board. Simply sign up in the video description box below. Takes you all of like a minute to do so. Put $5 on the money line of Mississippi State or the biggest favorite you see on Wednesday and win yourself $150 right now over at DraftKings to utilize for all the golf betting for this weekend. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, 3 more picks to go. Let's get to it. We head to the futures and outrights, and I took him in that Cam Young head-to-head, and I'm going to be going to the Sweet Chip and Irishman. Sassenach. I don't think anybody gets that reference, but Shane Lowry to top 20. Nothing crazy, as the class of the field is 10,000 times better than what he faced last week. Might be higher, give or take a few. Last week at the Honda, Shane Lowry played great. No doubt about it, but the class of the field is better. But with the wind I'm expecting Friday and into the weekend, around the green game plus iron combination for Shane Lowry cannot be denied. Plus, if he was remotely competent at any point with the putter last week, he's going to have an even better finish than what we had there at the 5th at the Honda, or the 14th he had at the Genesis the week before. Also lost strokes at the putter. Plus, I'm getting 2-1 on a player with that kind of touch, that kind of acumen, that kind of course history, lives in the area, and who has dominated strokes gained tee to green in 4 of his past 5 events. And not just light domination. We're talking like 6 strokes or better in all of his past 4 of his past 5 events. Yeah, I want him at this number. I need him at this number. So bring the wind, as the Open Championship winner of days of yore has shown no problems handling tough conditions in the past. Plus 220? Give me that on Shane Lowry to top 20. I don't even know what to say about this one, but I'm telling you, the former golden boy of golf is starting to show signs that he is back, which leads us to hole number 8. I am looking at him to top 10 at this golf tournament at the Arnold Palmer at Bay Hill. I mean, it's been a long time coming. 2014 is when he really busted onto the scene. That was, 9 years ago? Look at me doing math. Ridiculous. He finished top 5 in all 4 majors that calendar season. Just a ridiculous feat. But the last of his 5 wins on the PGA Tour was over 3 years ago at the Waste Management in 2019. And his 2020 through 2022 seasons were so brutal it just hurts your soul. Until a surprise finish at the Zozo at the tail end of last year. And while we don't have strokes gained data for that tournament, what we do have is strokes gained data for every tournament he's played in 2023, and it looks good. Some inconsistencies in some spots for sure, but positive with the irons in all 5 tournaments. 3 or more strokes gained with the approach in 4 of those. 4 or more strokes gained approach in 3 straight. Unsurprisingly, that's resulted in 3 straight top 20s for him, and if the around the green game syncs up with the driver for 1 week, there's actually win equity backing Fowler in this spot. Of course, with the quality of this field, I think there are better outright plays on the board than Fowler, and I'm not looking to sprinkle in too many long shots here, but in the top 10 market, I can get on board with the former Players Championship winner. It may be a tad aggressive, but the plus 600 payout for a top 10 instead of plus 250 to top 20 is worth the risk to me. So keep doing your thing, Ricky. Iron play, iron play, iron play, long iron play here at Bay Hill especially. Just bring some other part of your game for the ride, please. Rickie Fowler to top 10 at these odds. One of my favorites, if not my favorite play on the week. And now to the final hole on the card, and I really cannot believe I'm about to say this. I just recommended Rickie Fowler to top 10 for God's sakes, but this is crazier. I actually like Jason Day at 31-1 on FanDuel as my bet to win this golf tournament. Now, do I think he's my pick to win it? Like if you made me pick to save my life? Of course not. But the odds to bet Jon Rahm, Rory McIlroy, or Scotty Scheffler properly reflect them being those favorites. So I'm looking to sprinkle in the Will Zalatoris, the Tony Finau's, players with serious win equity, but 2.5 to 3 times the reward for getting that W if you're right. Now, I cannot remember the last time I bet Jason Day. It's been an eternity, years I can tell you. But he has done some serious work reconstructing his golf game. And for the first time in a very long time, he looks healthy. 3 straight top 10s in loaded fields at the Farmers, Waste Management, Genesis, positive strokes gained, 2.5 strokes plus off the tee in those events. And most importantly, his superpower is back around the green game. Back at the height of his powers in the mid-2000s, or the mid 2010s. There we are, found it. He has been elite around the green and the putter. 3.7 strokes gained is his worst result of the year so far. That's absurd. Now, I just talked about how important iron play is, and that's been the only part of the game that's been a little spotty for him so far this year. But I am pretty sure that when it does click, like it did at the Waste Management, he gained 3.2 strokes a gain approach there. He's going to be at the top of leaderboards automatically because that's short game. And if it does blow, if it gets crazy windy, a lot gets made of his ball flight being super, super high, but he's an Aussie with tons of familiarity, success around places like Bandon Dunes, or not Bandon Dunes, that's not where I'm thinking of, Whistling Straits, that would be the place in Wisconsin that I'm thinking of, and why not back him? Around the green game, pars become a premium, US Open-like conditions, sounds great to me, so here we go. Make sure you shop for odds north of 30 to 1 here. I don't want him at 25 to 1, but on FanDuel, currently 31 to 1, my favorite outright play on the board for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And that does it for the second edition of Lindy's Best 9 Bets. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of my plays, if there's anything you've got your eye on for the Arnold Palmer. Next week's going to be the Players. Very excited to break that one down for sure. Don't forget to check out DraftKings. We have the premium Discord down there. Lots of great offerings in that video description box below, so check it out. Until next week, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the PGA streets this week.